So up next is University of Oregon. This is like kind of Rice level of if I had not applied to the school I ended up attending, the battle, well, okay, actually that would have changed the dynamics, but it would have been between these three, I guess. But it would have been between these four. Like, I still would have applied. I had no idea that there was a bunch of yellow flags and a red flag here. So I still would have applied. And, like, I could have worked with somebody else. There's that, too. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. So this was main advisor Jim Watkins for University of Oregon. So this is in Eugene, Oregon. This is a case of I really loved the research, the place, the school, the everything, and I did not go, and I got a scholarship offer. It was like, it was, I think, a named scholarship, so in addition to the full tuition salary thing. And it was a different graduate school visit because they actually put me up in some graduate student's house, student's house, and it's an interesting campus because, like, the Nike headquarters, Nike is a Oregon State company, but it's used in a bunch of things globally, but it's from Oregon kind of thing, and it's headquartered in Eugene or something. So there was like a bunch of Nike stuff on with the athletic facility, and I was like, okay, okay, I'm coming for research. And they had really cool lab facilities. This is one I did not go because I think I would have been too successful. Okay, and that sounds so stupid, but when I'm not really, so I entered and I was not really familiar with PhD culture, graduate school culture, academia culture. This is like, in hindsight, that was a good reason. At the time, it was just kind of like, I think I would be too successful. Where everything works, everything flows, and a big difference between here and Rice University was I liked the professors at both. This was more of like, the things I was interested in was in a couple of professors, and this was like in a lot of professors. So essentially the difference of like, I would have been too successful is I could have just charged ahead with the like few professors I was interested in. Here, I would have had to like scale it back. And that takes time, and I've since learned that can take a couple of years. And so this is a case of, in hindsight, that kind of gut intuition of I would have been too successful. I think I've learned that it might have been very true. I would have potentially charged ahead on research and not necessarily learned as much about academia culture as I should have. And I ended up learning a whole lot more about academia culture than maybe I wanted to at the school I attended to. Like, because I had like an abusive advisor. Not University of Oregon. I highly recommend. And Jim Watkins research group, highly recommend. Yeah, but so this was, yeah. In all of these schools, amazing. And then the place I ended up attending, of University of California, Berkeley. This is in Berkeley, California. So east across the bay from San Francisco is Berkeley, California. I chose it because I had a particle accelerator that I could use for my research. Advanced light source. Yeah, you can, yeah, and that was very cool, and I was stuck on particle physics, and they had an advisor, or they had a professor, Burkhard Militzer, who I ended up working with, and I published a paper, first author paper for my research with him. It was, really wanted to do quantum physics, particle physics or something, and this was the one school where that was like, I had identified a person and was like, I could make this work, even if it's like just something, right? It's something publishable, some sort of work experience that I get out. And I did. So I made, in that sense, I made the right choice. The particle accelerator I got to use for a few years. I was actually the lead experimentalist on one of our beam time sessions. which was very cool, like to be in charge as the PhD student. I attended for over 4 years. I got my PhD candidacy in 2017. So all of these applications, I forgot to mention this, was for fall 2015 in PhD programs. So I chose to attend. I attended, got my PhD candidate in geophysics, and then I quit with no degree. And I quit with no degree because what we termed it at the time, so Margie Wynn, David Schuster, Roland Bergman kind of helped me through this, was like, and I want to say David Schuster was the first one to say it, was your PhD is your PhD. And that was like the best thing I had heard. And I was like, that's so helpful, like you don't even know. And they all kind of did that. So those 3 people really helped me. And so Roland Bergman and David Schuster were professors, but they were also graduate advisors. So they were there to meet with us graduate students and make sure we were doing something and moving forward. And Margie Wynn was one of the staff members of the department who I trusted and liked, and she's a very good person. And so they kind of reminded me of that, and there was a bit of a culture clash. I don't know if it was because my dad worked for Boeing and there was like an industry academia divide that I was not even aware of, kind of thing. Like I helped grade my dad's papers when he taught a course at Seattle University, so I was not unfamiliar with academia. My dad was a guest lecturer at a university, and I actually got to help with that kind of stuff. And so it wasn't like foreign, but there was a bunch of like culture clash is kind of what we termed it. And how did I decide on quitting with no degree? Well, when I moved to South Africa for school, I left the University of Washington with no degree after that because I started attending the University of Hawaii at Manoa in 2012. But I started that process in 2011 of leaving the University of Washington. And then in end of 2011/beginning of 2012, I quit a job because I was moving to Africa, and it was lifeguarding, and can't be on a pool deck on a different continent when I'm in Africa. Kind of reality check. And so that wasn't the first job I quit, but I had left a school with no degree, and which I transferred, so I still had transfer credits, but and then I had quit a job, so I just kind of merged those into one thing. And then it was not, and the other reason is it was not uncommon. It was, so of the graduate students who entered each year for my Department of Earth and Planetary Science at University of California, Berkeley, it was pretty normal for, if I'm recalling correctly, averages to be 50% to like 65% of a class would make it all the way through their PhD. So quitting was not unheard of. There was, in my time there, a few that come to the top of my head. There was Laura of the Barbara Romanowitz research group who quit with her master's degree. There was Vanessa Enney, who I actually met and interviewed, or had a interview with, I guess, kind of on her graduate school visit, put in a word for her. She got in. She quit with no degree within the first 6 months of being there, and she was in a research group that I also quit due to a kind of abusive supervisor. Then there was, in my year, there was Luke Fairchild, the geomagnetism guy. He quit with a master's degree. And there was Allison Sherrar, who quit with a master's degree. She was the geomicrobiology lady, which I don't actually know. I think I put kind of what she does. She loves microbes. And they both quit before me with a master's degree, and then I quit with no degree. So I was like 5th in my social circle, so to speak, to actually do it. So it was not an anomaly in that sense. I was not the first. I'm gonna guess I was not the last, kind of thing. So it was socially acceptable to a norm. And that is kind of it. Would I recommend it? Yeah, it's to quote David Schuster, it's your PhD is your PhD, right? Kind of thing. I support that and go for it. It's furthering your education and what you know. So enjoy it. If you're going through the graduate school application process, good luck. If you're contacting potential research advisors or supervisors like I was, I did hear back positively. So every professor I contacted, I kind of met with, and that kind of thing. So I had 100%. I will say though, if you get rejected at the just communication level, that's okay, because it shows that you get an A+ in communication because they responded to your email. Not all professors respond to emails. So give yourself a pat on the back if you hear back no matter what, kind of thing. And that is, and so good luck. And then that is my experience from the 2015 fall admissions for PhD programs in geophysics.